And breaking this afternoon, senators got their first classified briefing on the Iran strikes. So joining me now, fresh off that meeting, is Republican Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska, who served in the Marine Corps for 30 years as an infantry officer. And we appreciate the senator being with us here today. Thank you, Senator. I'd love to hear a little bit. I know it was a classified briefing, but we would also hope in that context, you got not performance, not cross-examination for the television cameras. You got the chance to actually hear some truth about what happened in Iran.
Yeah, well, great to be on the show, and thank you. And first, it was an excellent briefing, and I want to just commend again our military members. Fantastic, incredible job. We're the only military in the world that could have done something like this. Every element of that limited strike was flawless. But with regard to the briefing, you know, there was consensus that Iran's nuclear weapons capability, its enrichment capability, has been, quote, severely damaged. This is from the CIA. This is also from the IAEA, which has very good capabilities to analyze programs. It's from the Israeli intelligence services, and it was from all the briefers today. So, look, you're raising a really important point about our media always trying to undermine this. But let me make a corollary point. The Democrats, whenever a bold action is taken against the terrorists in Iran, you might remember when President Trump killed Soleimani, the Quds Force commander who had the blood of thousands of American service members on his hands. What do? They attacked the president. And that's what's happening right now. President Trump took a historic, tough decision, and you have the leader of the members of the Democratic Party in the Congress, AOC, calling for his impeachment. You have Tony Blinken writing an op-ed in the New York Times saying that was a bad decision. When I started this briefing today, I was the first senator asked a question, and I started by saying, how about we thank these guys? How about we thank them? And let's not do what the Democrats did after the briefing, after we killed Soleimani, where they attacked Mike Pompeo and others for the whole briefing. Thank the president and our military for this historic action.
Secretary Hegseth mentioned we ought to focus on some of the details of this incredible mission, and we will be doing that a little bit later here on the Will Cain Show. You brought up the IAEA, you brought up now the CIA, the intelligence that was shared with you. Let's not also forget, besides Israeli intelligence, Iranians have admitted that their damage to their nuclear facilities was, quote, badly damaged. You brought up Democrats. I know, again, you were in a classified setting. I assume the full body of the Senate was in attendance. This is a personal curiosity, Senator. What is the behavior of Democrats in this type of setting when there aren't television cameras? I'm curious if the type of questioning we've seen previously when it comes to cabinet members is the same type of thing that occurs when there's no one watching, but all of you senators looking to get intelligence on a national security issue.
Well, look, as I mentioned, Will, what I actually did in my question, and I was the first one to ask a question, was I reminded my colleagues what happened 5 years ago when we were getting the top secret brief on the killing of Soleimani. And a lot of my Democratic colleagues, and I reminded them, spent the time attacking the Trump administration, Mike Pompeo and others, over that decision. And I said, look, that was one of the most dispiriting things I've seen in my time in the Senate. I sure the heck hope my colleagues aren't going to do that again today. And for the most part, they didn't. They were asking serious questions. We were all asking serious questions. But it is a pattern when bold actions are taken against Iran by President Trump. The first reaction by the Democrats is to criticize the president, not the terrorists in Iran.
For the most part, in your answer, for the most part, carried a lot of weight. I'd be very curious to explore, for the most part, which senators chose this as a moment that would have left you, as you described, somewhat dispirited. But before we go, Senator, there is another side to this equation. It's not just the media. It is the leaks inside of the DIA who sent this out. And this requires serious investigation because this suggests real threat to national security. This is classified information that someone inside the administration or inside one of these offices is looking to damage President Trump. How can we investigate and get this be brought to the light of day?
Well, look, we fully need to do that. And, you know, I've seen it in Alaska, certainly on other issues. The deep state and the big federal bureaucracy exists. When you have unelected bureaucrats who don't like actions that a president is taking, and they try to undermine it. That happens a lot. But when you're talking about top secret information being leaked to try to undermine this president and the actions, the bold actions that he took, I couldn't agree more with you, Will, and I couldn't agree more with the Secretary Hegseth. We got to find the leaker and prosecute him.
Absolutely. The media is a very, very guilty party in this, but they have accomplices, and it needs to be understood exactly what's happening that compromises our national security. Senator Dan Sullivan, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Well, great to be on the program. Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.